Hidden in the heart of Bulgaria's countryside, a controversial tradition continues to survive, one that the world finds difficult to understand. A marketplace where young girls, sometimes barely teenagers, are publicly displayed, judged, and traded for marriage. This is the Roma marriage market. To outsiders, it may seem shocking. To the Roma, it is a centuries-old tradition, a cultural practice rooted in poverty, survival, and social norms. But for many human rights observers, this is a modern form of child exploitation. The Roma people, often called gypsies in popular culture, have a rich and complex history. They arrived in Europe over 600 years ago and have preserved unique languages, customs, and rituals. Among these traditions is the practice of arranged marriage as a system designed to strengthen family ties, secure financial stability, and preserve cultural identity. In Bulgaria, the Roma communities are often marginalized and face widespread poverty. For many families, marrying off daughters at a young age is seen as a way to protect honor, ensure safety, and secure an economic future. This practice is not just about a ceremony. It's a social contract, woven into the fabric of their community for generations. The idea is to keep wealth and culture within the group, preventing assimilation into the broader society that has often been hostile towards them. This isn't a new phenomenon. Historical records show that arranged marriages were common across many cultures as a way to form alliances and manage resources. For the Roma, whose nomadic history often left them without land or formal property, family connections were everything. A good marriage was, and in many ways still is, the most valuable asset a family could possess. It promised not just a partner for a child, but a network of support for the entire family. Over the centuries, as they settled in places like the Balkans, these traditions solidified. They became a cornerstone of their social structure, a method of self-preservation in a world that didn't always welcome them. Understanding this history is crucial to grasping why a tradition that seems so out of place in the 21st century continues to hold such power. It's a legacy of survival, passed down from one generation to the next. Days before the market, families meticulously prepare their daughters. Girls wear bright dresses, adorned with jewelry and ribbons, each outfit carefully chosen to display beauty, virtue, and family pride. The preparation itself can take hours, sometimes days, as appearance is believed to affect a girl's prospects and price. This is their debut, a public presentation to the community. Mothers and aunts work together, sewing sequins onto dresses, styling hair, and applying makeup. It's a mix of excitement and anxiety. The colors are deliberately vibrant reds, golds, and blues meant to catch the eye and signify health and vitality. The jewelry, often passed down through generations, isn't just for decoration. It's a symbol of the family's status and their ability to provide a dowry. Every detail is scrutinized. A well-dressed daughter reflects well on the entire family. It suggests she comes from a respectable home, that she has been cared for, and that she will bring honor to her new family. But behind the scenes, the mood can be tense. Some girls genuinely hope for marriage, seeing it as a rite of passage into adulthood and a chance to start their own family. They dream of finding a kind husband and embrace the tradition they've been raised with. Others feel the immense weight of expectations they did not choose. They may have dreams of finishing school, pursuing a career, or simply having more time to be a teenager. And yet, despite the controversy, the market continues, a powerful force in their lives. For many Roma families, marriage is more than tradition, it is survival. The market is a way to maintain social structure, strengthen alliances, and even secure financial support. Girls are considered both a source of family pride and, in some ways, a form of economic security. Yet to the outside world, the sight of teenagers paraded in public can feel like exploitation. Within the community, the event is seen as a practical solution to many problems. In a society where formal employment is scarce and discrimination is common, the bride price paid by the groom's family can be a lifeline. It can help pay off debts, support younger siblings, or simply keep the family afloat. The marriage itself ensures the daughter is cared for within a familiar cultural context, protected by a husband and his family. It's a system built on interdependence. A marriage isn't just a union of two people. It's a merger of two families. These alliances provide a social safety net, that official state institutions often fail to offer. If a family falls in hard times, their in-laws are expected to help. This communal support system is essential for their survival. However, this perspective clashes sharply with modern values of individual choice and human rights. From the outside, the focus is on the young age of the girls and the financial transaction, which looks disturbingly like a sale. The girls themselves are often caught in the middle of this cultural collision, torn between loyalty to their family and the desire for personal freedom. As the sun rises fully over the Bulgarian hills, the market comes alive. Negotiations will begin. Dreams, hopes, and fears will collide. In the next segment, we will step inside the marketplace itself, where prices are discussed, decisions are made, and childhoods are forever changed. Market Day. The heart of the Roma marriage tradition. Hundreds of families gather, and the air is thick with anticipation. Girls, some as young as 13, are presented in carefully selected outfits, their futures seemingly hanging in the balance. The girls are displayed with care. Every detail matters. Hair, makeup, dress, and demeanor. In the eyes of potential grooms and their families, these small details can influence perception and, ultimately, a girl's value. To outsiders, the sight is unsettling. To the Roma, it is a traditional ritual, a chance to connect families, preserve social bonds, and secure economic stability. There is no public auction, no loud calling out of names or prices, but the exchange is clear. A transaction of money, tradition, and expectation. Girls may be promised gifts, dowries, or small fortunes, depending on age, looks, and family reputation. We want what's best for her future. This is how we secure her life. From a human rights perspective, these transactions are deeply concerning. Many girls have no real choice. Prices can range from $3,000 to $10,000 US. The exchange is formal, yet culturally normalized. For some girls, it's their first real encounter with adult expectations. While tradition dictates the practice, the emotional toll on young girls is undeniable. Some are anxious, some are defiant, others silently dreaming of an escape. In these space, childhood and adulthood collide in the most dramatic of ways. To the Roma, the market is a celebration, a family gathering, and a social event. It is not only about marriage, it is about reinforcing social bonds, ensuring community cohesion, and passing on a centuries-old tradition. Yet for international observers, the line between tradition and exploitation is painfully thin. As deals are made and agreements reached, the market slowly winds down. But what happens once a girl is chosen? In the next segment, we will explore life after the market, the pressures, responsibilities, and the harsh realities faced by these young brides. Stay tuned and subscribe for the next part of this story. Market Day. The heart of the Roma marriage tradition. Hundreds of families gather, and the air is thick with anticipation. Girls, some as young as 13, are presented in carefully selected outfits, their futures seemingly hanging in the balance. This is the Stara Zagora Bride Market in Bulgaria, a controversial event where young women from the Kaladzi Roma community are introduced to potential husbands. The girls are displayed with care. Every detail matters: hair, makeup, dress, and demeanor. In the eyes of potential grooms and their families, these small details can influence perception and, ultimately, a girl's value. You can see them standing in lines, their parents beside them, a mix of nervousness and hope on their faces. The young men and their families observe from a distance, sizing up the prospects. To outsiders, the sight is unsettling. It looks like a marketplace where human beings are the product. But to the Roma, it is a traditional ritual, a chance to connect families, preserve social bonds, and secure economic stability in a community that often faces economic hardship and discrimination. It's a deeply ingrained practice, a way of life that has been passed down through generations. There is no public auction, no loud calling out of names or prices. The negotiations are subtle, held between families, but the exchange is clear. A transaction of money, tradition, and expectation. Goods may be promised, gifts, dowries, or what can amount to small fortunes depending on their age. looks, and family reputation. A father might say, "We want what's best for her future. This is how we secure her life." They see this as providing for their daughters in the best way they know how. However, from a human rights perspective, these transactions are deeply concerning. An NGO worker might explain that many of these girls have no real choice in the matter. Their consent is often secondary to the family's decision. Prices can range from around $3,000 to $10,000 US, sometimes more. The exchange is formal, yet culturally normalized. For some girls, it's their first real encounter with adult expectations, a moment where their future path is decided for them. While tradition dictates the practice, the emotional toll on these young girls is undeniable. Looking closely, you can see the anxiety on their faces, the nervous biting of a lip, or the way they look down while adults talk around them. Some are anxious, some are defiant, others are silently dreaming of an escape. In T-space, childhood and adulthood collide in the most dramatic of ways. They fidget with their bracelets, their hands clasped nervously, waiting for a decision that will change their entire lives. To the Roma, the market is a celebration, a large family gathering, and a vital social event. It is not only about marriage, it is about reinforcing social bonds, ensuring community cohesion, and passing on a centuries-old tradition. But for international observers, the line between tradition and exploitation is painfully thin. Is this a vibrant cultural practice or a violation of a young woman's rights? The answer depends heavily on who you ask. As deals are made and agreements reached, in the heart of rural Bulgaria, nestled among rolling hills and vast fields, a tradition endures, shrouded in controversy and misunderstanding. This is the world of the Roma marriage market, a practice that continues despite widespread international criticism. It's a complex story, where ancient customs collide with modern values, and where poverty, deep-seated social norms, and a stark lack of opportunity create a reality that is difficult for outsiders to comprehend. To understand why this market persists, we must look beyond the surface and into the lives of the people for whom this is not a spectacle, but a means of survival. For many families within the Kaladiasi Roma community, life is a daily struggle against extreme poverty. Unemployment is rampant, and opportunities for stable work are scarce. In this harsh economic landscape, every decision is weighed against the immediate needs of the family. Marriage, therefore, is often viewed through a practical, economic lens. It's not just a union of two people, but a transaction that can offer a lifeline. For parents, marrying off a daughter can mean one less mouth to feed and a potential influx of resources that provides immediate financial relief. The bride price, the sum paid by the groom's family, is often seen as selling a daughter but as compensation for the cost of raising her and a testament to her value and virtue. This money can be crucial, helping to pay off debts, repair a home, or simply put food on the table. For the young woman herself, marriage can represent a path to what is perceived as greater stability. In a society where her options are severely limited, marrying into a family with a better financial standing is often seen as her best, and sometimes only, chance at a secure future. For these communities, the market is not a matter of choice in the way we might understand it. It is a deeply ingrained necessity, a pragmatic response to generations of economic hardship and social exclusion. Officially, the Bulgarian government condemns underage and forced marriages. Laws are in place that set the legal age for marriage at 18, and on paper, the state is committed to protecting the rights of children. However, the reality on the ground is far more complicated. Enforcement of these laws in isolated Roma communities is notoriously weak and inconsistent. The negotiations that define these markets happen in private, within families and clans, far from the reach of public officials. The cultural gulf between state authorities and the Roma is vast, and there is often a deep-seated mistrust of outsiders. Local social norms and the authority of community elders frequently hold more sway than national laws. A police officer or a social worker arriving in a village is often seen as an intruder, not a protector. Non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, are working tirelessly to bridge this gap. Their workers visit villages, run workshops, and distribute materials warning about the legal and emotional dangers of child marriage. They try to build trust and offer alternative support systems, but they face an uphill battle against centuries of tradition and a system that is, for many, provided a framework for social and economic survival, however flawed. The government's response is often criticized as being more performative than effective, doing just enough to appease international observers without truly tackling the root causes that allow these markets to thrive. In the digital age, nothing stays hidden for long. The story of the Roma marriage market has been catapulted onto the global stage through viral videos, news reports, and social media campaigns. Smartphones have turned a once private cultural practice into a subject of international debate and outrage. Images of young girls, dressed in elaborate outfits and makeup, being inspected by potential suitors spark immediate condemnation from a global audience. This exposure has brought unprecedented attention to the issue, pressuring governments and funding the work of activists and NGOs. International organizations have launched campaigns aimed at raising awareness and protecting the rights of Roma girls. However, this global spotlight is a double-edged sword. While it generates pressure for change, it can also have unintended consequences. The intense scrutiny and judgment from the outside world can cause communities to become more defensive and secretive. Instead of disappearing, the practice simply goes further underground, making it even harder for authorities and aid workers to intervene. The sensationalized media coverage often strips the story of its nuance, painting a picture of villains and victims without exploring the complex socioeconomic forces at play. Exposure alone has not been the solution. It has sparked a conversation, but it has not yet stopped the cycle. But even in the face of these immense challenges, seeds of change are taking root. The most powerful force for transformation comes from within the community itself, particularly from the young Roma girls, who are daring to dream of a different future. Against the odds, many are finding ways to pursue an education. Some attend school in secret, hiding their books from family members who believe a girl's place is in the home. Others are supported by a new generation of parents who see education as a pathway to a better life for their daughters, a life of choice rather than obligation. NGOs play a critical role in nurturing this hope. They run community centers that offer not just academic tutoring, but also vital life skills. Girls learn about their rights, receive health education, and are taught vocational skills like computer literacy, which can open doors to employment outside the traditional framework. These safe spaces allow girls to connect with peers, share their aspirations, and build the confidence to challenge expectations. We see this hope in the eyes of a young girl lost in a book, in the determination of a teenager learning to code, and in the quiet resolve of a group of friends who whisper about becoming doctors, teachers, or artists. This change is slow, fragile, and meets constant resistance. But for every girl who finishes school, for every family that chooses to delay a daughter's marriage, the foundation of this centuries-old tradition weakens just a little bit more. The road ahead is undeniably long, but hope persists, carried forward by the courage of a new generation. The sun sets over the village, casting long shadows across the fields. On a hill overlooking her home, a young girl stands, her face turned toward the horizon, a symbol of both the past and the potential for a different future. The Roma marriage market is more than just a tradition. It is a complex reflection of the persistent struggle between culture, poverty, and the fundamental right to choose one's own destiny. As long as these communities are marginalized and trapped in a cycle of economic despair, this practice, in some form, is likely to continue. The ultimate question we must all face is a difficult one. How can society work to honor a people's culture and tradition, while fiercely protecting the fundamental rights, the innocence, and the future of its children? The story continues, and its next chapter has yet to be written. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into the complex issues shaping our world.